Tak, ideme na to. Play the game. Press any key. Táto by mala byť najlepšia hra od neho. Môže byť. To je planeta, alebo... Aha. Titulky. Good mode. I'm ready. Again. To vypadá ako Oblivion. Seká to. What the fuck? Čo to seká?
You won't get me! You won't get far!
Moje uši. Prdele. Lepšie. OK. Čím sa beží shiftom. OK. Fúha, má 3D view. Čo to mám za bakulu? Čakaj, ja sa chcem pozrieť, či mi toto neupečie grafiku. Performance. To sem, som zvedavý. 78% pohoda.
Don't come any closer or you'll meet your father! You'll be sorry very soon, you sneaky little demon! That I swear!
Prečo idem tak pomaly? To je nejaká fighting hra? Two days ago. Som myslel, že to krešlo. Yeah. For how long?
How long for, since she forgot the musing of the wind? How many drizzle drops whispered her from ruth to furiosity? She once was afar from her opposed likeness coming to end. Among the woods, enchanted, nothing would fade her curiosity. Unexhausted upon this path, Mira was swarming with unforgiveness. For she dreamed.
Ready? Není to úplně smooth, ale si myslím, že to je indie hra, tak nemusíme tomu dávat záporné hodnotení. Vyskočíš? Už nosem. No. Na strom? Aha. Ečko. Perfekto. A kapslokom sa dá zapnúť voice run. Pekne. Poučili sa. Môžem ísť po týchto vajnoch. No, to by radšej buď z tretej osoby, alebo z prvej permanentne, lebo Crows of Drizzle Path. Moje Kingdom Come. Vlčíbak. Sa ísť dovnútra. To je trojhlavý pes, serio. To je moja posteľ. Myra sat down for dinner with her parents. She could tell it was going to be another somber affair. The mood in the house had been pretty depressing for a couple of days now. Her father, Henrik, was the head of the clan, so she was not surprised to see him troubled when something bad happened. She had never seen him this worried before, though. He was barely even touching his food, even though her mother had prepared his favorite meal. Finally, she decided the silence had gone on long enough, so I almost caught a rabbit today. She sat down loud, grinning at her father, having got it into the sack, but Lurvin let it escape. He said it was too cute to kill. Myra was disappointed when the only response she got from her father was a small smile before she turned back to his food. Usually, he was happy to talk about her with her over dinner, especially on days when she didn't help him on the farm. However, Myra's mother was more interested in her story than her father had been. "I've told you to stop running around town with that boy," Myra's mother scolded her. "The both of you are always getting into trouble." Well, we didn't get into the trouble this time. We didn't even chase the rabbit, though anyone's farm this time, Myra replied, remembering very well her punishment a few months ago when she and Lurwin had chased a pig through a cornfield. How many times have I told you that you are too old to still be running around with that boy? Pelin asked her daughter. I'm not, Myra grumbled under her breath. You are almost a woman now, Myra. You should be learning how to be a good wife. And I doubt any man would be impressed by a wife who likes to run around the farm hunting down rabbits and pigs. Good, Myra retorted, because I wouldn't want a man who would have a problem with a girl that is good at hunting. Holy shit. Alright. Stop. Henry stopped him before a situation could escalate. Myra, don't talk to your mother like that. You know she's just trying to help. Myra scowled at her foot. You know it's your fault. She's like this. Pelin glared at her husband. You're the one who taught her how to climb trees and hunt. Henrik chuckled. She would have learned on her own. Only the gods know what would happen then. Seeing a smile on her father's face made Myra happy. Yes, mother. If father had not taught me how to climb trees, I probably would have broken my leg on something. Pelin rolled her eyes at the husband and daughter. You still managed to get injured well enough. Better injured than crippled, Myra replied, laughing as she defended herself. Isn't that right, father? Myra trailed off when she found out her father lost in thought. The table fell silent, and this jolted Henrik. He looked confused for a few seconds before giving her a small smile. Yeah. K čomu je táto bakula? Ťažko povedať. Dvere sa automaticky otvárajú. Možno sa teraz otvoria tieto dvere. Nie. OK. Perfekt. Zatiaľ toto je veľmi pekné farebné. Wow, zebra lev. Tak koľko FPS to beží? Ukáž. Pozrime sa. 102. Môže byť. Textúry sú dobré. Zožral ma. What? Go. On je rýchlejší jak ja. Čím sa ovláda tá bakula? Controls. Fire. Left mouse button interact. Sense gear. Herko. Drop book staff. Push. W. Ani jedna z tých klás nefunguje. Herko. RF. Nejde tam boj. To čo teraz? What the fuck? No, neviem, čo mám robiť. Som zostal stáť, nebol som sa tak utiekla. Holy smokes. Dobré. No, napadlo by ťa to, mne nie. Som len držal dopredu šípku. OK, tak nebudeme utekať. Zajac. Right click. Mám chargenú túto vakulu, čo si? Čo sa tu deje v tejto videohre? Čo sa tu deje? Mám to ešte nabité, alebo to je... To je asi len od jedného králika. OK, to je premiestňovací ostrov. Za to už asi nemám charge, čo? Not enough mana. Alright. Musíme nájsť magického zajaca. Pekné. Predpokladám, že voda je smrť. Dve páky. Táto sa nevráti. Aha, v správnom poradí musím vytiahnuť. Cool. Krabica. Dá sa posunúť. Kam s ňou ideme? Vypadá to, že sem. OK. Alebo možno sem? Sa nedá posúvať doľava doprava. Not even close. Neviem, keď sa idem, ale idem. Strašne pomaly to ide. To vypadá, že sa nedá ísť. To je jediné miesto dobré na skakanie je tam. OK, sound effect už nemáme. Kvetiny nedoskočím ani keby čo. Musí to byť toto tu. Jo, už to vidím tam vzadu. To je úľad, že sa nedá doľava doprava posúvať. Ty to posúvaš rovno. Má červené vlasy. Táto postava, hlavná. Tak sme v ďalšej oblasti. Strom života. Tam niečo bude? Aha. Lúr, truhlica. Tak ukáž príbehu. O1B. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Myra. I've got a lot of things on my mind. It's okay, she replied. Henrik got up from his chair. As delicious as the food is, I'm afraid my appetite has deserted me. He leaned down and kissed Pelin's on forehead. I'm sorry. Pelin took the hand he placed on her shoulder and squeezed it gently. It's okay, Henrik. I'll set aside a plate for you when you want to eat later. Thank you. I'll be in the great room, he said as he walked away. Myra watched him walk away and then turned to her mother. It's the famine, isn't it? That is why father is always worried. At first, it looked like her mother was going to ignore her. Then she sighed. I keep telling your father there is no point in hiding it from you. It seems you're even smarter than he gives credit for. Myra nodded slowly. I hear people talk when I'm in town. They don't want to seem worried about it. Though, I mean, things would be tight for a while. But we can manage until the next harvest. That's because your father, he hides a lot of things from the people. Myra frowned. Like what? Don't worry about that now. Just know that your father is going to find a solution. He's always managed to find one so far. No, she shook her head. This is different. He's just not worried. He's scared. Pelin stared at her daughter, wondering why she even thought she could deceive her. Myra was like her father in a lot of ways. They were both very smart, very kind-hearted, and very stubborn. If she suspected something, she would start digging and would not stop until she found something. Palin also knew that Myra's love for her father was such that they could not bear to see him unhappy. And while Palin knew there were times when Henrik needed to figure things out on his own, Myra believed no such thing. Alright, cannot tell anyone else that I'm about to tell you. What I'm about to tell you. Not even your friend, Lurwin. Palin raised a hand and stopped Myra's protest. No one outside this family can know what I'm about to tell you, promise me. Seeing how serious her mother was about keeping it a secret made Myra understand just how sensitive what she's about to tell her was. I promise, Myra said solemnly. Palin took a deep breath before she started speaking. You already know how the locusts destroyed most of this year's harvest. We were lucky enough to be able to salvage some of it, but not nearly as much as we needed. Myra looked confused. Are you saying that there is going to be famine? No. It is going to be a tough year, but we have just enough to help us until the next harvest. The problem is that your father could not pay the full tax we owed the Baron. Myra's eyes became wide with fear. She knew about the Baron. Everyone knew about the man who owned the land on which their clan lived, farmed, and hunted. She also understood why her father was worried. Even she was worried. Palin nodded. Your father delivered the tax to the chateau a few days ago. Now we have to wait and see how the Baron is going to respond. She sat back. That is why your father is worried. Myra frowned. So, what are we going to do about it? Palin shrugged. Nothing we can do about it. But wait. Now, eat your food before it grows cold. Myra nodded, but as she put the food into her mouth, she started chewing. She could barely taste what she was eating. Normálně takáto hladovka se to vyskytla v této dědinke. Takže normálně to má story. Cool. Zatiaľ som teda veľa ľudí nestretol. Týmto sa asi čaržuje, čo? Not enough mana. Musíme nájsť zajaca, jasné. Kúzelník som tieto video hra. Čo si? Aha. Gimme. What? OK. Na 3 pokusy, ale predsa. Not enough mana. Poď sem. Crows of Genie. Achievement unlocked. Zatiaľ to má docela príjemný vibe. Som sa vrátil sem naspäť k tomu veľkému stromu. Cheers. Ja to je tá rodinka pri tom stole, jak jedli tú večeru. Save. Môžeme pokračovať v príbehu. New music incoming. By sa mi toto všetko svetlo proti tej minulej hre, čo som hral. Čakaj, sem sa dá ísť, nie? Páka. Uf. To neskočí. Sem. Čiže musím potiahnuť a nabehnúť. Nope. Nemám double jump. Aha. To som si naozaj nevšimol. Ktorý music tu hrá? Takže keď si zahráš takúto indie hru, tak sa ti resetnú tie nároky na tej videohry, že áno. Yeah. Cool. Dajte zác. Dolu. Yeah. Máme to. Keď neviem, k čomu to potrebujem, ale snáď zistíme. To niečo bolo? Tejto som došiel, čo? Jo. Tak, do dediny. Zúru. Jaký most? Pre jedného človeka. Tak vyplašíme. Dostávam achievementy za vyplašenie v ráne. Crows of Bottle. Tam na dvere, bude tu druhá? Bude, tu je. Príbeh nekončí. Ukáž, časť 2:02. Later that night, Mara struggled to find sleep. So she got out of the bed and put on her clothes. She was on her way to the porch to gaze at the stars, practice that usually helped her sleep, when she noticed the glow of the lamp in the great room. Myra walked into the great room and found her father sitting cross-legged in front of the altar, his hands clasped in front of him. He turned around when she walked in. "What are you doing up?" he asked, with a small smile. Myra sat down beside him. "I couldn't sleep." He stared at her and then sighed. "Your mother told you, didn't she?" Myra nodded. Should have told me. Henrik shook his head. Why? You're just a child. I'm not a child, Mara retorted. I haven't been a child in a long time. Henrik's lips curved. In a way, Mara was right. But she would always be his child. It doesn't matter. This is not something for you to worry about. It's my burden to bear. I'm the clan chief. But you don't have to bear it alone. I want to help. Myra hated to see her father looking so worried. She had always been very close to him and they did most things together. She was happy when he was happy, and her heart broke when he was unhappy. Whatever happens, you will still be my favorite person, father. Henrik didn't say anything, just turned back to stare at the lit candle on the family altar. His hands moved to caress the staff in front of him. It was made of wood, with runes carved into it. It had belonged to his family for as long as anyone could remember. The tree from which it had been carved was sacred to their clan, and after thousands of years, it still stood strong right in the middle of their land. When times were hard, his people looked to that sacred tree and drew strength from it. Every child born to his people was dedicated to the sacred tree. In some way, it was their connection to the land on which they sought sustenance, and the staff was the symbol of the leadership for their clan. Henrik traced the runes on the staff with a pat on his thumb. Before my father died, he gave me this staff and told me that when trouble came, I should trust it to guide me. I've been asking for help for days now, and I still see nothing. He got up and laid the staff across the altar, then stepped back and turned around to Myra. Go and sleep, Myra. Everything will be fine. Promise? Myra asked, trying to keep the fear out of her voice. Henrik nodded without hesitation. I know everything will be fine. Just like sacred tree. Doesn't matter what Baron does. I'll still be here standing by the end of it. Okay. Tak to je asi táto bakula, ktorá hovoril. Magická. To je Family Altar. Okay. Na čo ma to potom zazumie naspäť na toto? Nerozumiem. Idem za ním, alebo idem odkiaľ prišiel. Tak, odpoveď je jasná. A nejaké kolektably to nebudú? Kámo, grafika ide na 83%. Bash. Go. Oh shit. To bol najkračší chase v histórii. Som nevedel, či mám stáť, alebo ísť naproti, alebo... Random rebrík. Ako keby autor chcel, tak túto hru môže kľudne rozšíriť. Rozumieš? A, našli sme do veľkého mesta Crows of Bass. Felix. Redress of Mira. To bol tutoriál alebo celá hra? ešte pokračujeme aj na chodbách, vidím. To bol tutoriál. Wow. Tak, ideme ďalej. Radioaktívni králici sú top. Domček, druhica. Je to aj to jedlo, ktoré popisujú. V tých príbehoch. No 3. Tudixo walked into the house and locked the door behind him. Then he took off his cloak and hung it on a hook behind the door. Binel, he called out as he walked into the house, looking around for his daughter. I'm here, father. Binel walked out of the kitchen. You're back so early. I was hoping I could be baking before you returned. Tudixo moved close to and lowered his face to kiss her cheek with his hand behind his back. Then his face turned sour. Sorry, Binel replied with a giggle. I think I got some flour on my face. Tudixo's skull turned into a smile. I got you something. What is it? Guess. You remember how disappointed you were the last time you gave me something and you asked me to guess? Tudixo rolled his eyes at his daughter's skepticism. It's going to be different this time, I promise. I'll even wager you that you'll love this gift, so guess. Peanut cocked her head. Okay, is it a new dagger? No. A holster for the pistol you bought me last Christmas. Tudixo frowned. No, and why do you think my gift has something to do with a weapon? Because that's the only type of gift that makes you excited. Alright, this gift is for you, and something you've been asking for a very long time. Something you really been on gaps. Don't tell me you got a father. If this is a prank, then I'll be very cross with you. It is not, Tudixo replied, as he pulled out a leather-bound book he had been keeping behind him. Binel shrieked as she grabbed the book and flipped it open to confirm it was authentic, before letting loose another loud shriek and hugging her father. Thank you so much. He grinned as he hugged her back, delighted to see his daughter so happy. When she was but a baby, he had lost his wife in a shipwreck. Tudixos managed to stay afloat with his baby held up in the one hand until the rescue boats arrived. His wife's body has been lost to the ocean forever, and Tudixo has been dedicated his entire life to making sure Binal wanted for nothing. She has a language. She followed him everywhere he went, and he was never out of sight. Even when he went on an assignment, she was by his side. Now that she was older, she preferred to stay back at home. Binal detested violence of any kind. And since he was a mercenary who sometimes had to use violence to get the job done, her desire not to play any part in his work made sense. Binal loved to read, though something he was sure she got from her mother. He did his best to encourage her passion and always bought books for her, even though he didn't see the point. Ten fond je troška ťažší na čítanie. It is nice to read the words in a book, he would say to Binel when she tried to get to him to read a book. But they are not real now. Shoot someone in the knee or stab a knife through his palm, and you'll most definitely see blood. That is real. As for Binel, she was taught how to handle a weapon. Tudixo trained her to shoot guns, arrows, and even use a sword. Skills that she insisted she would never need. Everyone knew who her father was, and no one would dare to attack the daughter of Tudixo, the mercenary. stretávajú viaceré príbehy. Zaujímavé. Wow. Zostal mi aj charge. Not bad. Ide to. Sedí damečko, nemôžem ho zmačknúť. What? No, to je druhý. Sa bude točiť? Či mám zastaviť ječko? Nie. OK. And? OK. Divné. Not enough mana. Veď mi to svieti tá palica. Zabudol som si chargenúť králika. Tak, gimme. Hodiny tej osoby a lietajúci koberec. Save game. Crows of Nephi's. Nephi's? Konečne nejaký puzzle. Tak, najprv si prečítame story k tomu. As they sat down to eat dinner, Binal told Tadixo about her day and everything that had happened in his absence. So, where did you get the book? She asked in the middle of dinner. I've been looking for it for a long time. Tadixo cleared his throat and lifted a cup of his wine to his lips. I bought it from someone on my trip. How much did you pay for it? She looked a little worried. I know how expensive rare books like this can be. A guilty look appeared on Tadixo's face. Don't worry about that. I got it at a discount. A discount? Binal paused. Then her jaw slowly dropped. Don't tell me you took it. I didn't take anything. Tadixo said it before she finished. I bought it from him fair and square, and at a higher price than it would have been after the fire got to it. Binal glowered at him. So you cheated a poor man out of his rare book. Tadixo sighed. No, I paid a fair price for it, and you can't blame me for the burning part. I was just doing what I was ordered to do, and getting paid for it. Tadixo was slowly getting angry. Binal, we've had this conversation before. I don't have a choice. It's either I do what the Baron orders me to, or we could find ourselves in one of his dungeons, or maybe worse. Binal shook her head. You know, I never understood why you decided to become a mercenary. But I told myself it was okay, since you mostly went after bandits and highway robbers. But now you're going after good and honest people just because someone pays you to. Pinel, Tudixo growled. I wonder what Mother would think if she sees what you do now. Tudixo jerked back as if he had been slapped in the face, pain flashing in his eyes. Why can't you see? I don't have a choice in this matter. The sound of someone knocking on the door prevented Pinel from replying. Tudixo got up and walked up to the door. His heart sank when he saw the messenger standing at the door, dressed in royal colors. Who is it, and what do they want? Pinel asked when he returned from answering the door. I've been summoned by the Baron, he replied. I have to leave for the chateau immediately. Pinel's face fell, and she looked away from him. Tudixo took a step towards her, but the look on her face drove him back. Turning around, he went to prepare for his trip to the chateau. When he returned, Pinel was still sitting at the table, her dinner forgotten in front of her. I'll return as soon as I can, he said. Even though she had not acknowledged him since, remember to always keep the doors locked and keep a loaded pistol under your pillow. As he opened the door to leave, Pinel jumped up and ran to him. She threw her hands around him and kissed him on his forehead. Be safe, she said. He nodded, giving her a small smile before stepping out. As he walked away from his daughter, he realized he could no longer do this. He would have to find a way to stop, even if it meant crossing an ocean that had claimed the love of his life again. He almost turned back to tell Pinel the good news. Then he decided there was no need. He would say to her once he did this one last job for the Baron. He would get his hands dirty this one last time, then never again. Ajajaj. 0,3B. Dobre. Máme 3 páky, takže je to jasné. Tohle vnútorný kruh. Toto vonkajší a toto. Ten najvonkajší. OK. Si by to chcel najprv ten vonkajší nastaviť. Ale s čím má lícovať? To by mohlo byť. Takáto čiara tu. No nie je tu žiadny guidance k tomu. Strašne pomaly do tie páky. Toto nesedí z tejto druhej strany. Myslím, že teraz je ten obraz správne. Akorát musím natočiť. Jaký byl slaný kafe. Otvoril som to. Výborné. Som si dal prvý glk. Myslel, že mám pokazené mlieko. A potom ma napadlo, že v tej nádobe bola sol a nie cukor. Ešte sa mi zdalo, že sa to tak blbo miešalo. Nechcel sa to rozpustiť na spodu. Dal som si plnú polievkovú lyžicu. Prúser. No, radioaktívny zec. Výborne. Máme manu. To je týpek z heretiku. Búf. Ide to. To je nejaká habaďúra. Mizore? Skáče. Nič. Pozri, vyskákal som tam. Dobre. Čo tieto kvetiny? Vypadajú veľmi exoticky. Nič. Toto modré? To je dôležité. Svieti to na modro. Veľká blueberry. Nič sa s tým nedá robiť. Oh no. R, C, tab, Ečko, Fko. Left click, right click, nefunguje. Shit. Na čo sa sem trepem? No ako bol som tam hore, a čo? Nič tam nebol. Super. Si niečo vymyslel s touto smrťkou tu. Tak to teda zrejme nebolo. Sa dá tlačiť len tak random. No, that's it. Je to ten týpek, keď odchádzal z toho domu, jasné. A jak sa volala tá ženská? Zakýval. Save game. Dobrá save game ikona, ľubí sa mi. No. Akorát neviem, čo majú tie príbehy s tým, čo hrám. Asi pravdepodobne nič. Ešte som neskúšal skočiť do vody. Je to insta respawn. Don't do that. Tri mostíky. To bol nejaký ten veverička, alebo čo to bol? Nevidieť. Boss fight. Som myslel, že toto je walking simulátor. Haló. Aha, je to boss fight. Tak poď. Not enough mana. Shit. Kde je týpek? Toto čo je? Not enough mana? Oh. To je čo? Not enough mana. What? Čo sa tu deje? Že nemám dosť many. Fuck. Jak sa fajti? Za chvíľku som mŕtvý. Not enough mana. Zabil ma. Som mi nedal ani jeden hit. What? To nemali robiť kombat do tejto hry. Keď už tam chceli silu moc dať, tak save som mal mať tam pred ním. OK, možno musím tie králiky začarovať. Potom nabehnúť tej zelenej gule. Tu je ten squirrel. Poď. Vždycky, keď ma nakúri, tak odbehne preč. Not enough mana.
Take this.
Nič nejde to. The fuck. OK. That's cool.
Take that.
Ja som nejak nepochopil, jak to funguje presne.
Take this.
Takže vždycky, keď ma hitne, nemám dosť many. OK. Mohla by sa mi tá mana niekde aspoň zobrazovať.
Next time, I will drain your spirit away.
Yeah. Bolo troška divné, ale dúfam, že už nebudem s týmto fajtiť, lebo to bolo hrozné. Ten kombat. Musel som brať dve, alebo jak to funguje? Doteraz som to nepochopil. Next time, I will train your spirit. Tento rok by mal vyzerať ten Gothic remake. To bude pecka. Dúfam, že to neodložia zas. Crows of Begins. Tento dom má dve poschodia. Let's go. Veľká okovaná trúla. To je starý, môžem si obrať štít. Nemôžem. Chcem ukáž príbehovú čestku. No 4, ja neviem, či to je, jak to číslujú, ale to je divné. Tudixo waited for the herald to announce him before stepping into the great hall of the chateau. The Baron was holding court again, and as always, the scene was a cacophony of music, laughter and noise. Wine flowed freely, and more food was being wasted than had been eaten. The Baron sat on a throne on the dais, and his wife sat next to him. Standing guard behind the throne were 6 mercenaries. Almost every inch of the chateau was patrolled by the mercenaries who had been hired to keep the Baron safe. 3 months ago, Seiron, the Baron's right-hand knight, had gone missing within the palace walls. The disappearance of one of the strongest knights had made the already paranoid Baron even more suspicious, and security around the chateau had been tightened. Tudixo, the Baron waved him forward as soon as he walked in, then phoned Herosny. "I've been waiting for you, Baron." Tudixo bowed when he got in front of the dais. "My apologies for making you wait so long. I came as soon as I got a message." "Did I get a message?" the Baron asked Tudixo. Tudixo knew he was talking about. Who he was talking about? Knew who he was talking about. And he nodded his head. "They did, Baron. Just before I left, I saw them already making contributions to pay what is left of the tax they owe." "Was this after you burned the house?" The Baroness asked with a sparkle in her eyes as she leaned towards him. Nedá sa to čítať. "Was any of them caught in the fire? Is that why they changed their mind so quickly. No. Tudix shook his head. There was something about the Baroness that unnerved him. For a man who had fought in wars and faced deaths numerous times, there was still something about the Baroness that scared him, even though he could never say why. They tried to raise the money before I lit the match. Tudixo continued to report. Alas, they could not meet up with their debt in such a short time. The Baron frowned. You were sent there to send a message, not to give them a grace of clearing their debt. Tudixo nodded. I understand, my lord. I only thought I would see if I could collect the debt owed and save the Baron the stress of having to send someone else to collect the tributes they owed. The Baroness glared at him. It is not your place to presume to know what would make the Baron happy. You should be thrown in jail for such brazen behavior. Tudixo quickly bowed his head. I apologize for overstepping my bounds, my lady. I only thought to show my dedication. Leave him alone, the Baron said to his wife. Tudixo is one of my most loyal mercenaries. He does what he's told and asks no questions also. I can trust him, not to try to cheat me like some of the others. Jej, 0,4, a? 0,4, a. Nerozumiem tomu číslovaniu. 4. zväzok Ačková kapitola, alebo who knows. Nemáme charge, máme? Not enough man. Nájdeme nejakého radioaktívneho zajaca. Nimi. Ako tie hitboxy nemajú bohviaké. Tie zajace. Ale keď som tam stragroval s tým warriorom. To čo bolo. Jo, toto je ten dohad s barúnkou. Hra je 7 minúta, takže pohoda. Ideme do jaskyne. Nie. Takéto farebné zmeny, to ja môžem. Na tomto monitore. Tak vyzerá, že keby táto hra má ešte HDR-ko. Když budem musieť niekedy vyskúšať to HDR-ko nastaviť. Že aby som ja mohol hrať v HDR-ku a na streame by to bolo normálne standard definition. Vôbec som nepochopil, čo sa robí tým R-kom. Send scare. Dropbook stuff. Crows of Hunting God. To je nejaká lanovka. Nedá sa vyskočiť. No, prísem túto bedničku.
I need to place something on it.
Need to place something on it. To je nejaká veľská angličtina.
I need to place something on it.
Alebo čo? Nič. Kraučovať sa nedá. Jak sa dostanem do tej chatky? To nevyleze, čo? Tam je tá páka. Need to place something on it. Aha. Bednička v bedničke. Pap. Teraz sa teda posunúť, nie? Nie treba. Počkáme, keď príde lanovka. Toto už je lanovka, aha. Som myslel, že toto je len parking spot. Draw distance 0. Dá sa vyskočiť? Nebudeme to skúšať. Save game je ďaleko. Grafika na pána. Kúpil som to vypredaj asi za 5 €. Veľmi dobrá hudba to je. Tak, sme na konečnej. Nemôžem vyskočiť. Disappointed. Tak, sme ready. Nič. Tam je hlavný objektív, ešte toto v rýchlosti explornem. Cool textúry. Strom. Mohla by troška rýchlejšie behať. Aha. Králíku. Neutečíš mi. A tu máme story truhlu. Come on. 4B. There was a time when Tudixo used to ask questions, but after watching his fellow mercenaries disappear for doing so, he had learned to keep his mouth shut. Now, the Baron continued, I have another mission for you, and like the previous ones, it involves people who have defaulted on their tax. They claim that their harvest was decimated by locusts. But should I be made to suffer? Should I be made to suffer for something that I had no hand in causing? Tudix stopped looking around the hall, where food was still being wasted right in front of the Baron. No, my lord. Takže takto to súvisí s tým príbehom. Good. The Baron nodded proudly. So, you will go to this clan, and you'll send them a message from me. And what would the message be? Tudix asked. The Baron thought for a moment, then a gleam appeared in his eye. Set fire to their farms. Since they refuse to give me a portion of their harvest that is mine, then they shall go hungry. Baroness pointed at Tudixo, and this time remember that you are only there to deliver the message from your lord, not to show them any mercy. Keeping his curled hands by his side, Tudixo forced himself to nod and bowed his head before turning around and walked out of the hall. Just one last time, he was going to do the Baron's dirty bidding, then never again. No, a tu nastáva ten problém celého príbehu. Zistíme za chvíľku. Už vie, z jaké štátu je tento developer. Tu má samé ruiny a zelené planiny. Bo je niekde na severe. Asi. Počul si toho ďatla? OK. Čo je tak pomaly? Všade je cutscéna. Aha. Vyčilujem pri ohni. Bude noc. No way. Má uši jak elfka. To vypadalo, keby mám monitor presknúť. Wow. Vyhrám amnéziu teraz. Oh my god, to je úplná tma. Môžem zobrať tú faklu. Že ma to nebude naháňať tá príšera. Čo to je za žezlo? Ja s ním nemôžem bežať. Nemôžem bežať. Oh my god. Nedýcham. Neviem, kam to mám odniesť. Prečo s tým nemôžem behať? Shit. OK. Si to čaržíme. Či čo? Čo bolo? Dosť bolo nightmareov. Uf. Jak žampla. Dobre. OK, game. Ďalšia veverička. Tieto fakle sú tu overkill. Main castle. To je asi zamknuté, čo? Práve hlavný vchod je zamknutý. Ideme teda bočným. To opens the gate. Výborne. Dúfam, že tam nevybezne sa tam múmia. Slajdujeme, pozor. Straight to the story. To vypadá ako Oblivion teraz. No 5A. The next morning the Baroness got out of the bed, and after she was bathed and dressed by her servants, she stepped out of her room. First, she checked on her husband and found him still snoring in bed. A goblet of wine was just out of reach of his outstretched hand. The Baroness knew it would be at least noon before the Baron woke up from his slumber. Time enough for her to do what she wanted to do. She walked out of his bedroom and closed the door behind her, not bothering to be quiet. As she walked down the hallway, her nose turned up at the sickly bright yellow paint that covered the wall. It was part of the royal colors, but she had always hated it and tried several times to get the Baron to paint it over it. Unfortunately, changing the decor of the chateau was one thing she could not convince her husband to do. It was not just yellow walls, but the ivies that climbed up to the shadow walls and the large paintings of his ancestors that hung on the wall. For centuries, the Baron and his family had ruled over the lands surrounding the shadow, levying taxes on the clans that lived on the lands and doing nothing much else. As long as the taxes were paid on time, the people were left alone on their devices. The only time a problem arose was when a clan refused or was unable to pay their taxes. No mercy was shown to the defaulters. It was a lesson the Baron had learned from his father before him, and one he now practiced. As for the Baroness, she never really cared what her husband did, as long as she could do also what she wanted. It was an arrangement that worked for both of them. As she walked down the hallway, she passed several mercenaries patrolling the chateau. All the mercenaries stopped to bow before the Baroness as she walked by, but she ignored them. She would have to talk to the Baron about the mercenaries. She didn't mind having them patrol the chateau's ground, but there were just too many of them in the chateau. There had been no incident on the chateau ground since Cesaron's disappearance, and having this many mercenaries cost a fortune. She didn't care about the money, she just hated having so many eyes watching her movement. As she walked down the hallway, she stopped in front of the door. After looking around to make sure she was alone, slipped into the room and closed the door behind her. Walking to the far wall in the room, she pushed it, and the hidden door opened up. The Baroness stepped behind the door, and locked it back in place. Then she inched her way along the narrow corridor until she stepped into a dungeon. Her face broke into a smile when she saw a man on his knees in the middle of the room. But what? That's creepy. Toto vyzerá ako one-way trip. Najprv sa kúkneme sem. Plašíme tieto vtáky. Crows of Pilgrim. A nie je tu nič viac. Oh my god. Ježišmaria. Serestraj. Aha. Pokračujeme. Krabice. To vypadá ako dvere. Vyrazené s pántou. What? Oh, okay. I see. To je Tomb Raider, Oblivion. Všetko dohromady. Čiže tu rastú tieto brečtany, alebo čo to sú? Tak. Joj. Chop down. No. To som zvedavý, či nájdem tú secret roomku. Žalári. Ne. Poď sem. Jo, baronka. Push the secret switch. Vypadá, že by to bol secret switch. To nevylezem. Oh, okay. To bolo easy. Taký Crows of Ascension. Teda chodby sa spájajú. Všetci tu tieto random stoličky. Určite to bude nejaký secret, ktorý mysním. Sa mi ľúbi, že tieto skaly sa šmýkajú. Ja, lórová ulica. B. Číslo hexadecimálne, alebo čo neviem. The man's hands were locked in shackles with chains that hung from the roof of the room. There were cuts and bruises all over his body, and his clothes hung around him in tatters, leaving him almost naked. The room was dark and stuffy, the only source of light and air coming from a small window close to the ceiling. The Baroness knelt by the chained man and raised his head, a broad smile on her face, as she lovingly stroked his bruised cheeks. "Good morning, Cicerone," she said lovingly to her prisoner. "What?" The right hand knight of the Baron moaned, his eye pleading with her. Pleading? Blue battle paint covered the upper half of his face, almost like a baroness was mocking his help of state. His mouth has been stuffed with a rag, and and then taped shut. Not that it would have mattered if he screamed. The room was deep in the secret part of the dungeons that very few people knew existed. No one would ever care about screams coming from the dungeons. "I've missed you so much," the Baroness said, tucking his hair behind him. "Have you missed me too?" She waited for an answer, then burst into laughter. "Of course you missed me. You love me." Her hands began to move across his body, pinching and caressing him. "What? Stop acting like you don't want my touch. Remember how you used me to beg to touch you." She grabbed his hair and shoved his face into her cleavage. How would you spend the hours in bed? How we would spend hours in bed when my husband went to see the king, both of us laughing at him. You loved the way I touched you then, didn't you? Čo toto je za príbeh? Čau Martin. She stepped back and looked at the tray in one corner of the room. The jug of water was nearly empty, but the loaf of bread left there still looked good for one more day. Then she turned back to Cesaron. "Na ceste z práce? Aj, za chvíľku si doma, čo?" "I remember the rules. I get to do what I want to do with you. And if you make me happy, you get to eat. Maybe if you put me in a good mood when I'm leaving, I'll even bring you some meat for you next time I come." Terror crept into Cesaron's eyes, and he shook his head frantically, but the Baroness was no longer listening to him. Walking to one of the corners of the room, she grabbed a chair and a bag. She placed the chair in front of Cesaron and sat down. Then the Baroness reached into the bag and pulled out a metal clamp. Ignoring his mews of protest, she grabbed his nipple and snapped the clamp around it, laughing when he screamed so loud it broke past the gag in his mouth. What the fuck? Ma ho tam učila. Páne Bože. Creepy. Čiže toto za príbehy z tejto kráľovskej rodiny. Pozeral som, že by som si možno kúpil novú klávesnicu. Ale potrebujem niečo, čo nie je hlučné. Čo máme tu? Granálíka. Radioactive. Toto je main, či nie? Nie, že tu skipnem nejaké vecičky. Jen tam hore by sa možno aj dalo ísť. One day. Jedného dňa. Jasné, toto musím posunúť nejako pákou alebo niečím. Bude asi tuto, za rohom. Oh, predicted. A je to schodište postavené. Krysa. Cutscene.
What's in there?
Vypadá to ako jeden hak. Ideme fajtiť. Kámo. Nemecký očiak. S infraočami.
You're cute, all right. Blue like the sky. I will call you Skya.
Skya? Holy shit. Vôbec neviem, čo sa deje. Skya. OK, mám nového psa. Jo, mi svietí, kam mám ísť. Cool. A kade prv? Aha. To je nějaký secret. Jo, toto je ten chudák priputaný. To možné. Tak bež. To je extrém. Studne. Ečko. Nič. Nič. Treba tam dať nejaké závažie alebo niečo. Pravdepodobne. Že áno. Čo mám nejakého veľkého vtáka? Jo. Hneď, ak si prečítam príbeh, môžeme tam ísť. Tak, 6. 3 hours later, the Baroness opened another secret door in the dungeon and stepped out. This one led to the chateau garden. She stopped to make sure she looked alright. There was a blood stain on her sleeve over her dress, but it was barely visible on her black dress. She tried as much as she could not to draw blood when she played with Cizeron, but sometimes it was too hard not to. 3 months ago, the two of them were having an affair. Everyone knew Cizeron was devoted to the Baron, and so no one suspected a thing. Then Cizeron had suffered from an attack of his conscience and decided to put a stop to the affair. The Baroness didn't want to stop, even though he was not the first person she would have an affair with. She had enjoyed him the most. Usually, when the Baroness got tired of her current paramour, she arranged to have them killed, but she could not bring herself to kill Cizeron, so she drugged him and imprisoned him instead. And every once in a while, she would head down there to play with him. After confirming that she looked presentable, the Baroness made her way through the garden until she arrived in the courtyard. Usually there was no one there. But today, she found the mage practicing his magic with an apprentice by his side. Morning, my lady, the mage bowed before her. He glanced at the side and saw the apprentice still standing. Bow before the Baroness, you did. The flustered apprentice quickly bowed his head too. The Baroness mumbled a reply and walked past them without stopping. Slycon watched the Baroness walk away. This was the first time he had seen her so close, and she was even more beautiful than he had heard people describe her. She also looked terrifying. Something about her eyes when he looked at them. Slycon, the mage bellowed, glaring at him. Stop daydreaming, go back to your mastering your spells. Slycon nodded and raised his staff to continue the training. The bright green robe he was wearing was too big for his skinny frame, and he shoved the sleeves up. His blonde hair fell across his forehead, almost covering his eyes. He was also very proud of the single lock of hair that stood on his chin. Slycon dreamed of being the chateau's mage one day, and he knew just how much the Baron loved it when the mage put out on a show. So he had to get better at performing magic. Concentrating on the rabbits in a cage across the courtyard, he began to wave his hand. Taradanta Melixudos. Slycon said a spell and stared at the rabbits, confused when nothing happened. He stepped forward and spun his staff one more time. Taradanta Mediolixudos. He screamed again. This time the cage door flew open and the rabbits sprang free. Before Slycon could react, the rabbits were all hopping to freedom. You idiot, the mage yelled, staring at Slycon. You're supposed to be practicing how to open doors, not how to open portals. That's what I did, Slycon replied, looking confused. Not from the look of things. Go and get all enchanted rabbits back and put them in their cages now, the mage yelled when Slycon just stood there. Yes, sir, running off. Someone began to chase after the rabbits. What? Čo sú toto za príbeh? No dobre, máme to. A tam na druhej strane bude tá druhá soška. Rozumím. Takže toto tvorí nejaké schodište. Bab. Nič. Mačka, mečko. A. Tie dvere sú kde? What? Oh. Tu. OK. Yes. Tak, tu bude tá druhá figurína. Tu je. Hej, to bude logo. Jo. Ináč ja tu mám aj klávesovú skratku na toho psa. Senský herko. Možno to budem potrebovať. Poslušne ma čaká. Tak, go. Nedá sa poslať. Wow. Careful. Crows of Deja Vu. Myslím, že ma roztrája na kusy, keď k nemu pôjdem. Pretože k nemu musím ísť. Alright. Careful, careful. Skôli kolečko na to jelenia sa mi otvorili dvere. What? Oh. Oh.
Let's go!
Holy shit. To je super. Nevedička. Strašne cool. Zjeme tie farby. Tyrkizový pes a jezdiť na jeleňovi. Myslím, že dosť dobré. Tak, tu zosadneme. Ďakujem za jazdu. A môžeš ísť do prírody. Pekne vyrendrovaný. Ježišmar. Máme charge? No, čo, nemôžem si to od teba nabiť? Nemôžem. Zás bude tuto. Ideš spať? Či čo je to za ikonu? Night City. Tu je. Poď sem. Cool. You sleep. Majsa. Poďme zase spať, že o 1:00 o 2:00. Toto je ten... Ja som ten príbeh vypustil tie zajace, ten... Slakon? Nebo jak sa volal? Divné mená sú tam. Sick game. Už prvý? Bež. Si myslím, že už bude veľmi blízko finále. To bude niečo epické potom. 100%. Nejaký dôležitý domček. S neotvoriteľnými dverami. OK. To sú ďalšie domy, hej. Čo si preskočil cestu? Sem sa dá ísť. Máme tu čestku. Toto je čo? Cesnak? Nič to nie v tomto dome. Creepy. Za domom nejaké vtáky. Nevypadá to tak. OK. Čakaj, to sú zadné dvere. Backdoory. Aj tie sa neotvárajú. Preskočím plot? Preskočil. No way. Aktivujem toto a ty aktivuj.
Stand on that.
No way. Neviditeľný most je najlepší. No, pekne to je graficky urobené. Čakaj, ja sa len odskočím tu na... Pozri sa. Cross of Ranchuina. Ste sa divili, čo to furt trepem, tak to čítam tie achievement názvy. Pes už išiel tam. To musí byť nejaký príbehová čestka. Nehovor, že nie. Jaký čajník. To musí byť developer z nejakej krajiny, kde pijú veľa čaju. To je česká. Máme to. Príbeh pokračuje. Sedemá. Closer to Dixon got his destination. Neviem, či som color coded tie knihy. The heavier his boot felt, and he shuffled even more slowly. The village was not too far off from Baron's chateau, but the weariness was not why he moved slowly. His heart was heavy because of the task that lay before him. As he got closer to the village, he saw people returning from their farms. They stopped to hail him. Mistaking his sorrow for exhaustion, they offered him water. Tudixo refused their offer. He had like molten brass in his throat. Take me to your chief, he said instead. I have come with a message from the Baron. At the mention of the Baron's name, people stiffened, and the faint hush went over the crowd. "Come with me," one man finally said. "I'll take you to the chief." Turixa nodded and followed him. They traveled through the village, and Turixa watched the children playing in the street, the sound of their laughter grating on his ears. Men and women stopped to greet each other, smiles on their faces. Very soon, those smiles would turn to sorrow. A few minutes later, he was standing in front of the chief. Henrik stared at the man that stood in front of his hut with a message from the Baron. He was partly relieved that the Baron had just sent one man. He had heard stories of the clans that had been made to face an army of the Baron's mercenaries. "Welcome," Henrik said with a small smile. "I hope your sojourn here was without troubles." Turixa replied with a curt nod. Mercenary could not be seen to be showing mercy to his victims. He had a reputation to protect, and have come with a message from the Baron. Henrik interrupted him. "You must be so weary after such a long trek. Come into my hut and soothe your throat with something cold." Turixa fixed the glare on his face. "I'm afraid the time for courtesy is past. The Baron demands to know why you insult his generosity." Henrik immediately shook his head. "We did no such thing." "But you did, when you refused to pay the debt you owe to him," Turixa continued. "The Baron allowed your people to farm on this land, and in return you promised to remit to him an agreed upon amount every year. My people's claim to this land stretches back for centuries, long before your Baron and ancestors set foot here. This is our land," Henrik started. "And in return for allowing you to keep the land, your people made a deal with the crown." Turixa replied immediately. "A deal you have now broken." Henrik sighed. "Through no fault of ours, the locusts laid waste most of our harvest. We have nothing left to spare. Not if we hope to survive until the next harvest. Then let this be a reminder and a warning of what happens when you refuse to pay your taxes." Danie. Klasika. Počkaj, to je zajac. To je ešte tento dom, aha. Nie, to som teraz bol, veď. Tak, ideme za mojím polarizovaným nemeckým ovčiakom. Toto vypadá cool. Nič sa ti nechce? No, tak to býva. Ja som tiež mal také obdobie medzi 25 a 30, 23 až 26, 7, sa mi nič nechcelo. Haló. Šťastný nový rok? Takto úspešný rok to ešte nebol. Je to tak.
Why is this not opening, Skya?
Skya? Oh. He broke it. Oh no, no, zase.
Die!
Bez mínus.
No!
Za toto zaplatíš. Ty smrad. Tak poď.
Die!
Not enough mana. Jak funguje tá mana? Povieš mi? Nikdy je nemám dosť.
Die!
Bra.
Die!
Jesus. Tak musím zobrať 3. 1.
Take that!
Nič. Zase mi jednu struhol. To je nemožné toto.
Take that! Take this! Take this!
Poď sem. Shit. Ha. Musím zobrať 3. Not enough mana. My favorite.
Take that.
Nie, proste ma hitol. Nerozumiem, jak to funguje tá mana. Piči.
Die.
Dokedy stream, dokým to
Take
nedohrám.
this. Die. Die.
Piči. Kokot.
Take this.
Proste sa ma hitol.
Take that.
Nič.
Next
Konečne.
time I will sing you to a sad ending.
No toto. Tajne som dúfal, idem sa ďalej sprchovať. To by si ešte mal stihnúť. To by si ešte mal stihnúť. Uvidíme. Tieto kombaty sú hrozné. Veľmi by som, keby tam tie kombaty neboli, bolo by to lepšie. A ten jumpscare jeden, čo tam bol, to bolo čo zas. Rozumiem, že chce experimentovať ten vývojár, ale nehodilo sa to tam. Veverička. Toto sa asi budú spájať tie dve chodby dohromady. Jup. Či nie? Myslím si, že áno. Že inak by som došiel tadeto. Jup. Pozriem, či som to nechal nejaké vtáky. Čo je dosť možné. Nope. Máme story? Nemáme. Jak to? Where is story? Na domčeku to bude. Aha. Tento nie. Taký. Crows of Jim. Kto je Jim? Toto budú storička. To budú storička. Ajajaj. Turix reached for the torch, strapped to his side, and struck it against the ground. The torch burst into flames and he hoisted it above his head. Henrik's eyes opened in shock when he saw the fire. What are you going to do? What I was ordered to do, Turix replied as he began to walk through the village towards the field of crops. Please, Henrik pleaded, walking after him. Tell the Baron we would pay the debt that we owe next harvest and even more. Too late, Turix replied. His eyes softened a bit. I have no choice in this matter. I have to do what Baron says, or... He shook his head and gritted his jaw to strengthen his resolve. Then he began to walk through the farm, setting fire to the crops. As Tudixo carried out his task, he could hear people shouting and pleading him to stop, but he shut them out. He set fire to everything in his path, from a small vegetable plant to big fruit-bearing trees. As he walked deeper and deeper into the farm, he suddenly came to a tall and mighty tree. It looked ancient, and his heart broke at having to destroy something so great. But he had his orders. As he lifted his torch to set a fire to the root of the tree, he heard a great shout behind him and turned around to see Henrik rushing toward him. Please, Henrik pleaded with him, do not set fire to that tree. It is sacred to my people. I'm sorry, Tudixo replied, pity in his eyes. But the Baron's order was clear. I'm to burn everything that grows. As he raised the torch to light the tree, Henrik rushed towards him and knocked it out of his hand. Tudixo immediately unsheathed his sword. Think carefully and don't act rashly, Tudixo said, as he pointed the sword at Henrik. Attack me and the Baron would send a horde of mercenaries through your village, killing everyone, including women and children. It is just a tree. It is not just a tree. Henrik replied sorrowfully and watched Tudixo to set fire to the tree. With the whole farm now in flames, Tudixo turned around and began to walk away from the town. Behind him he could hear the sound of people crying and wailing. As Henrik watched the sacred tree go up in flames, he threw his head back and howled at the sky. The loss was like a deep wound in his spirit, like a part of him had been ripped out and cast aside. Black smoke rose from the sacred tree and cast a shadow over the clan. Henrik wondered if he had done the right thing. His ancestors had sacrificed their lives to keep the tree safe, yet he had stood by and done nothing. Falling to the ground, he began to wail. Shit. Terrible. Okay. This way. Nie mam charge, mam. Okay. The tree of life. Save game. Takto mi zapálili strom. Je to možné? Ešte mi zabili aj Skyra. No, to je ďalšia čestka. S príbehom. Semačko, už sa blížime k 10. Mira was helping her mother in the kitchen when a stranger stopped at the door and asked to see her father. She had watched her father plead with the stranger and followed them through the farm. Mira had stood helplessly like everyone else as the stranger set fire to their crops and then to the sacred tree. She had watched as her father fell to the floor and began to cry. Grief-stricken and angry, she took her heads and ran away from the crowd. She did not know where she was going, only that the heart hurt, and she wanted it to stop. Somehow she found herself at the riverbank and she fell to the ground and began to cry. For what felt like the longest time, she cried until she had no more tears left. Then she stopped, and stared at the river. She wondered what her father was going to do now. With the crops gone, how would they eat? Much less hope to pay back the Baron. She picked up a stone from the ground and flung it toward the river, watching as it skipped several times before sinking. She grunted with exertion, and she threw another one. Then she heard a noise behind her and turned around to see Lorraine hiding in the bushes. Myra shook her head at Lorraine. "You were very terrible at hiding." He stepped out and stared at his toes. "I've been watching you cry for a while. I didn't know if you wanted company." "You know about the tree?" she asked him. Lorraine nodded and turned toward the village, where the smoke from the sacred tree was still burning. "Everyone is talking about it." He turned to Mira. "Myra," a sympathetic look in his eyes. "I know how much that tree meant to you and to your family, not just us," Myra replied, fighting back the tears. "I belong to the whole clan. It belonged to the whole clan." Larry wanted to tell her it was just a tree, but he knew that Myra it wasn't. "I'm sorry," he said instead. Myra could no longer hold back her tears, and she started to cry again. This time, Lorraine came forward and hugged her. She hugged him back, wrapping her arms around his body and leaning into his strength. "I wish I were there," Lorraine whispered into her hair. "Maybe I could have done something. Don't beat up yourself." Myra replied, "Even my father could not do anything. I just hate to see you cry," he said, hugging stronger. "It makes me sad." Myra pulled back so she could look into Lorraine's eyes. They had been friends since they were children. It was hard to tell when she realized she loved him. Maybe she had always known, just like she knew now, that she wanted to kiss him. Lorraine stopped Myra before she could kiss him. "Not here. You're always so shy about not getting caught," she said, giggling at him. "To the barn then?" she asked. He nodded and raced off along the riverbank until they arrived at the barn. What the hell? Milostné příběhy. Uvidíme, jak se to rozvíje. Jsme v nějakom městě. Trval by som sa nech dostať hore. Koľko to bol tam je, ty kokos. Možno tam nepôjdem ani. Sme tu. Rabbit. Charge me up. Zatiaľ nie. Sem. Vtáky. Crows of Soul Orb. What? Rebrík s 2 svetlami. Ideme správne. Jump. Tam je to. Portális. Toto je čo? Tam budú vtáky určite. Jo, aha, to je toto z druhej strany, jasné. Rozumiem. stylová akcia. Music. Mestečko. Dá sa dropnúť sem dole, ale naspäť sa už nedostanem. Idem najprv pozrieť sem. Tam je nejaké prasa, ale čo tam je? Nemôžem tam dropnúť, že nevyskáčem naspäť. Toto vypadá ale na main. Tam sú vtáky, vidím ich. Crows of Education. Tam je to. A nevidím tu nikde králika. Takže budem musieť dropnúť dole. Čarčnúť sa, potom sa vrátiť teda. Rozumiem. Celá dobré to je. To, že to je Indiera. Prosím ťa. Už koľko to muselo dať jednému človeku zabrať toto. Neskutočne moc. To je Peppa. Peppa the Pig. Oh no. Tak, tu máme story. Sebe, sa blížime 10. Inside the barn, Myra wrapped her arms around him and kissed him hard. They both fell to the floor, kissing and touching each other's bodies for almost an hour. The wooden floor became wet from the sweat, and the sound of their muffled moans still filled the barn. Irving groaned when Mira's tongues stacked across his. She had no idea how hard it was for him to settle for just this. The more Mira touched him, the more she tested his control until he was ready to burst forth. Irving wanted more than just kisses and hand-holding, but he knew he could never have more until they were husband and wife. He raised his head and stared at her, panting with his mouth open wide. "What is it?" Myra asked when Irving stopped. She was not ready to stop kissing him. "Myra, will you?" The sound of the barn door swinging open made them both of them jump to their feet. Their eyes widened in fear when they heard who it was. Infidels. Have it, the barn owner yelled as they crashed into the barn. "How dare you desecrate my barn with your sins? Forgive us," Norvin pleaded as he grabbed his Mira's hand and stepped in front of her. "We'll take our leave now, and you'll never see us again." "Too late," David replied, raising the hammer in his hand. "We'll see how much running around you can do when your legs are broken." "What?" Myra grabbed a bucket of water beside her and tossed it at David. It was the same water the pigs drank from, and it smelled terrible. David could not duck fast enough, and he gagged as the water splashed him and got into his mouth. "Run," Myra yelled, grabbing Lorraine's hand and ran past David. As she ran past, stumbling over it, she pushed him to the floor and raced into the back alley. Lorraine followed after her. Just before they got out, David hauled the hammer in his hand towards them with a bellow. The hammer slammed into Lorraine's leg, and he cried out. When David saw that the hammer had hit Lorraine's legs, he scrambled back with a look of fear in his eyes. Lorraine's father was a 2-meter tall blacksmith who was built like a rock. Everyone was scared of him. David turned around and took to his heels. Myra placed a hand around Lorraine and held him until they had gone far away from the farm. Then she stopped to examine Lorraine's foot. "I think it's broken," she said. "Don't worry, Mother will know what to do." Myra helped Lorraine to her hut. When she got there, she found her mother sitting on the porch, staring into the distance. She looked worried, and Myra rushed to her side. "What is it?" she asked her mother. He's your father, Myra's mother replied. He took his sword and said he'd gone after the mercenary. What? Myra was surprised. Mother, look after Levin. I'll go and bring father home. Before her mother could protest, she was gone, racing in the direction her father had gone. Damn. Takže toto je ten topik. Sú všetko remindry. Not enough mana? Ja ho môžem dispatchnúť. To mi ani nehovor. Skúsime to. To ale vypadá, že by mohol byť aj secret. Tak. OK. Tak asi sa nedá s ním nič robiť. Aha. Toto je úžasné. Čo je tam? Hold on. Ništ. Cool. Tieto levitujúce skaly sú najlepšie. Crazy. Jo. Tento sa dostanem k tej bráne, jasné. No ty of mana. Oh my god. Ježiš, to musím ísť zase dokola. To by mohli povedať, že to musíme rechargenúť. Je tu indikátor tej many. To tu strašne chýba. To ani je sranduj. On nemá charge. Nemá charge. Je to možné. Tam je ďalší vec. Možno sa tam musím zastaviť. Shit. Je rovno tam. Aha. Máme charge. Double charge. Teraz, keď to nebude fungovať, tak nikdy. Ja sa zapnú nejaký had, keď sme pri tom. Nope. Dá sa zapnúť DLSS-ko. Tak. Jo, to je tá príhoda z tej stodoly. To je prvá žaba. OK. Nie, zase ideme spať. To bude monster. Shit. Don't do this. Damn it. Oh no. To je jak prasknutý displej. Najhoršie. Tak, premeň sa na monstra, ideme na to. Amnézia. Stavku. Kde by to mohlo byť? Tam je monster. To je možné. Prosím, don't kill me. Come on. To je neskutočné, pomaly chodí s tou stavkou. Teraz ma nenaplaší. No. No, nehodí sa tam proste. To je divné. Ribbit. Velký dom u jezera. Takže by mohol byť aj otvorený. Nope. Zrejme, či tu nie sú vtáky. Nope. Krásna krajina. Velký obojručák. Tu byly zase cesty, ktoré sa spájajú. Možno. Nedá mi to, musím ísť na druhú stranu najprv. Bohužiaľ. Dobre, že som išiel. Crows of Pluviofa. References. Som si, že tá hra bude mať 1.5 hodiny, ale vidím, že typek to speedrunol. Nečítal story. To mi príde povedomé už. It's a box. Kam s ním? Tam. Už budem tlačiť hodinu. Better get started. Tak. Ništ. Hore. Nejaké motúzy. To je nejaký most. Musím ho zapnúť. A nevidel som tu žiadny aktivátor. What? Kde mám čo aktivovať? Sú nejaké zákysy nakoniec ešte? Haló. No sa dá preskočiť? Nope. Kam mám mieriť? Skoro som dropol. Toto vážne nepreskočím. What? Oh. Takže to nebolo vôbec obvious. Mohol tam typek dať hečko. Predsa. Tak, story time. Deviatka. Je ich 10, neviem. After leaving the village, Tudixon made his way home. He moved quickly, eager to get as far away from the site of his deeds. Once in a while he would raise his head and see the plume of smoke still rising to heavens. The sight riddled him with guilt. Just before he arrived home, he found himself unable to continue. He could not face Binal like this. She would take one look at him and know he had done something terrible again. How many times could he break her heart like this? Tudixo sat down at the river bank and gazed into the flowing water with empty pale grey eyes. There was a full moon in the sky, and its brightness reflected on the waves. Taking out the sword and his pistol, he laid it on a rock beside him. Henrik was standing behind the oblivious Tudixo, a sword clutched in his hand. He had given chase after him, stopping to ask people on the road if they had seen a mercenary wearing a black cloak and walking alone. It was a long journey, but he had found his target. Henry grabbed the sword and began to creep towards Tudixo. When he was close, he stopped and pointed at him. Time for you to pay for your dastardly act, he shouted at Tudixo, waking him up. Tudixo jumped to his feet and grabbed his weapons from the floor. Then he paused when he saw Henrik standing in front of him. Don't do this, he said with a long sigh. I don't want to cause any more trouble than I have. Too late for that, Henrik replied, moving closer. You burned down the sacred tree of my clan, and for that you shall die. I had to follow Baron's orders, or he would have me thrown in the dungeon. I have a daughter to take care of. Henrik shook his head. I also have a daughter that looks up to me. How can I look in her in the face, knowing that I allowed you to destroy the legacy of my people? You don't have to do this. Tudixo pleaded. I am not your enemy. Enough, Henrik raised his sword. Now die. He dashed towards Tudixo. The two men fought long and hard. Henrik fought to kill, aiming his sword at Tudixo's heart and head. Mad with rage, he did not notice that Tudixo only fought to defend himself. As they fought, Tudixo's pistol fell to the floor, and he rushed to pick it up, but Henrik threw a dagger right through his hand. Tudixo cried out as the dagger impaled his hand into the ground. Henrik walked forward and picked up the pistol. Then he pointed it at Tudixo. Wait, Tudixo called out, but it was too late. Henrik shot him point blank in the head before he could finish his plea. He watched as his body fell to the ground. Blood and brain matter splattered everywhere. The head on Tudixo's head fell into the river and floated away. Henrik removed the dagger stuck in Tudixo's hand. Then he stopped to stare at the body. Henrik had hoped that he would feel some relief by killing the man who destroyed his clan's legacy. Yet Henrik's heart still felt whole. Even worse, he was feeling of guilt that accompanied the hollow feeling. Closing his eyes, he turned away from the body and made his way home. Behind him, forgotten in the grass, was a necklace Tudix had ripped from his neck as they fought. The necklace that bear his name. Už sa to rozuzluje. Takže Henrik zabil Tudixa. Ale čo potom stalo teda s tvojou ženou a s Mírou? To sa dozvieme v příští epizóde. Dúfam, že to nebude zo starý tier. Trafí šlak, keď to bude ešte jeden kombat. Crows of Kionophile. Som nikdy nepočul. Aha. Polit. Nová chodba. Cool. No. Koule. To nebol úplný clean jump, ale zvládol som to. Tak, to máme ďalší story time. Desaďa. Meanwhile, Slacken was still roaming the grounds of the chateau, looking for the escaped rabbits. So far he had found only one, and there had been a lot more than one in the cages. He checked the gardens and the stables, but found no rabbits. Knowing the mage would be furious with him if he didn't find all the enchanted rabbits and returned them to the cages, he continued his search. As he walked around the chateau grounds, pushing past overgrown hedges, he was surprised to find a door. The door was locked, and normally he would have left it alone, but he was desperate not to return to the mage without the rabbits. Raising his wand, he pointed it at the door. Veliotu Sidigo Isilati. He repeated the spell to open the door. Alhobara. At first, nothing happened, and the door remained shut. Slacken tried to spell again, and this time there was a slight click. Then the door swung open. He looked around before slipping inside. What he saw inside the dungeon made him gasp. There was a naked man chained in the middle of the dungeon. He was not moving, and Slacken wondered if he's dead. His face was swollen, badly bruised. Blood dripped from the wounds on his body and the floor. Must be one of the Baron's prisoners, Slacken said as he looked around for the rabbits. The man suddenly moaned, and the Slacken jumped back in fright. He raised his head and blinked twice, surprised when he saw Slacken standing in front of him. Please, prisoner pleaded with the Slacken, help me. I'm sorry, Slacken replied. The Baron will have my head if he knew I was here, much less that I helped you escape. Good, prisoner replied, because it is the Baroness and not the Baron who had me abducted. The Baroness, Slacken exclaimed and immediately shook his head. She's even much worse than the Baron. Help me, and I swear no harm will befall you. Don't you recognize me? The prisoner begged. It is me, Caesaron. Slackham was shocked, Caesar on. He moved closer to the prisoner. Right hand knight of the Baron. Caesar nodded frantically. Yes, it is me. Cool. Oh, toto je arena. A. Není. OK. Zobrali jsme si charge. A teraz. Prečo idem pomaly? Ježišmar. Toto budeme hodinu. Sněk. Keby troška rýchlejšie behal, tak by to bolo nice. Right. Takže prvý step je taďalto. Teraz. To by bolo moc jednoduché. Come on. Hop. Máme to. Save game. No s Bohom. Combat. Dúfam, že to je posledný fakt. Ten kombat je hrozný. Tak poď. Tak hitni ma.
Die! Die! Ah!
Not enough.
Die!
Vtipný.
Die! Ah!
To nie je možno komplitnúť toto.
Ah! Take that!
Shit. Kokot.
Die!
To sa nedá hitovať.
Die!
Proste beží rýchlejšie, jak ja.
Ah!
Kokot. Cípi.
Ah!
Nič.
Take this!
Not enough mana. Poď sem.
Take that!
Kokotes.
Take that! Ah!
Oh. Myslel som. Tak to nie je možné, že toto dá
Take
hitbox.
this!
Please. Come on.
Ah!
Ste ma hitol zas.
Die!
Come on.
Die! Next time, I will drain your spirit away.
Hrozné to je. Najhorší kombat. Horšie v Kingdom Come. Čakaj, ja sa len náhodou pozriem. Či to naozaj má len toľko. Tá Redress of Mira. Či to náhodou nemá 12 hodín, alebo tak, vieš. Tonkuc Bodur. Typek tam má nahraných 10 hodín. What? YouTube. Skoro sa ja odrychmal. Hej, Redress of Mira. To je 27. Kámo, typkovi to odtiaľ to trvalo ešte 40 minút. Myslíš vážne? Ešte pol hodinu. OK. Alright. Let's do this. No tak nechápem, že tam má týpek potom za hodinu 30 dokončené. Speedrunista. Nečítal knihy. OK. Zajtra práca. Najhoršie. To doskočím. Musím. No nečakal som, že to bude také dlhé. Si myslel, že je fajn o hodinku a pol si dám. Walking Simulator. Ono to bude 3,5 hodinky. Teraz začkaj, čo si dám pod zub? Nič. Umyť zuby a spať. A noc nedávaj. Najhoršie. Crows of the Cycle. Story time. Yes. Čakaj, to sa nedá ísť. Nedá sa tam ísť. To možné. Tak. Máme tu desinu Bčko. How did you end up here? I was the Baroness. It was the Baroness. She tricked me. He gave a slack on a besieging look. Untie me and no harm will come to you. I'm sorry, Slacken said as he took a step back. I have to leave now. It's getting late. I must find the enchanted rabbits, or my master will be cross with me. Wait, Cizeron yelled before he could leave. I know where the enchanted rabbits are. Slacken stopped and turned around. Really? Yes, hesitantly. Yes, Cizeron replied. I heard a guard talking about them. If you let me go, I'll take you to where they are. Promise? I promise. Slacken used the spell to release the Cizeron from his chains. As soon as the knight was free, he rushed to the corner and picked up his clothes. He hurriedly got dressed, then he picked up his sword. He was rushing out of the dungeon when Slacken stopped him. You promised me to show where the enchanted rabbits were, remember? Slacken reminded Cizeron, I don't care about any rabbits. Cizeron replied, first, I must kill that monster. You made me a promise. Slacken insisted, and you're bound by your word. Go back on your word, and you invite death to your doors. Don't forget, I'm a mage's apprentice. Cizeron knew he was right. Sighing, he went to meet Slacken. All right, let's go and catch these rabbits. Where are they? Slacken asked. Where else but the woods? Cizeron replied. Bolt set off to the woods. As they got closer to the woods, Slacken and Cizeron saw a woman walking towards them, delirious with pain and struck insane by what the Baroness had put him through. Cizeron raised his sword and charged after the woman. I will drain your spirit away, you demon, Cizeron yelled as he attacked the woman. Slacken jumped in his path and stopped him. What are you doing? Trying to kill the demon that locked me up and tormented me for months. The Baroness must die, Cizeron said, fighting against Slacken. But that is not the Baroness, Slacken replied, looking at the woman in the distance. It's just a woman walking in the woods. Right before their eyes, the woman turned around and disappeared into the mist. You let her go, Cizeron bellowed, pulling free of Slacken's grip. I will strike you dead where you stand, if not that it was you who rescued me. Now be gone. I have a monster to chase. Frightened, Slacken turned around and raced back towards the chateau. Cizeron continued into the woods, chasing the woman into the mist. In his madness, he could no longer differentiate one woman from the next. To him, they all looked like tormentors, the Baroness. Creepy. Game saved. Veľmi vysoký strom. Tam sú žaby. Verička. OK. Tady to neprejdem. Takže musím ísť dole. Ja musím posunúť asi ten stĺp. Som zvedavý jak, ale uvidíme. Nope. What? Rambo. All the way? Okay. Začína byť normálne unavený. Tak, jump. Ešte jeden príbeh. V týchto domčekoch nie. Nič, nedá sa ísť po streche. Smrťka. Je tam. What's this? O, to je secret. Nie. Oh no. Či čo? Ja idem vo vzduchu. What? Šiel som vo vzduchu, videl si to? Ešte raz. Kámo, niekde sa to zalagujem. No, nebudeme vymýšľať, lebo ešte sa tam náhodou zalagujem a bude to nekomplítnutelné. Hashtag book, je to tak. Hashtag book. No, pohoď. Hitboxy. Tam nedoskočíme, keby čo bolo. Zatiaľ to možno áno. Čo Čo si? Scripted. Počujem vrany. Crows of Vega. Čo je toto? Invisible wall. Neviditeľná stena. Tak, poďme to pušnúť do finále. Slajdovať. A sme v zámku. Zase raz. Tak, toto je otváracie tlačítko. Možno nie. Príbehová česká. Číslo 99. 11. It was almost nightfall, and the Binel sat on the table, reading a book by the light of a lamp and waiting for her father's return. He should be back already. He always told her before he traveled on a journey that he would keep him out overnight. Binel hated how they had parted ways. Even though she hated what he did, she knew he had no choice in the matter. The Baron was a tyrant, and he was not above throwing her father or even her in jail if he was disobeyed. Binel had spent the whole day thinking about the dilemma until she found a solution. When Tuxedo returned, she planned on convincing her father to leave the kingdom, even if they had to sail across the ocean. She knew convincingly her father would be an uphill battle. After all, he had lost his wife in a storm, but she had to. She would rather risk death than watch her father's souls die slowly. Binel heard a sound at the door and turned around expectantly. She was disappointed to discover it was just the wind rattling the door. She picked up a cup on the table and found it empty. The jug of wine was also empty. A gust of wind blew the candle flame out, and Binel frowned. There was a strange sensation in the atmosphere, and an impending sense of doom she could not shake settled over her. And she jumped to her feet. She had to find her father. She covered her head with a cloak and hid a dagger beneath her coat. Then she went out. First, she went into the pub, hoping she had stopped there for a drink before he came home. But he was not there, and she continued her search. Binel didn't know what made her walk to the river, but she did and stood at the bank. The fresh air smelled like grass, and an owl hooted in the distance. She thought about going to the chateau, but her father had warned her sternly against going there. She suddenly found a hat floating down the stream, and her hand flew to her chest. It was her father's hat, the one he put on as he left the house. Her heart pounded in her chest as she jumped into the river and went after the hat. Lifting it, her eyes fell on the blood stain across it. She swam back to the bank, clutching the hat in her hand. Then, saying a prayer in her heart, she began to run along the river, following the trail of blood. The light was quickly disappearing, but Binel continued running. Ajajaj, za chvíľku nájde taťka. Treba niečo ťažké sem dať. Napríklad tento stôl, alebo no, naspäť ísť nemôžem. It's clear. Toto? Mám nabitý charge. Čo mám robiť? What? Ešte to nejde. Zase nejaká hádanka. Čajník. O. To je trúhla. Nemám zobrať? Nie. S knihou chodiť nemôžem. Stoličku. Torčka. No, spadlo by ťa toto. Že ma zapali torčky. Pentagram. Charge. Jo, to je tam klobouk. Otcov. Možno budem fajtiť nakoniec toto binál v finále.
I need to make a raft. For that, I need to collect some necessaries.
Okay. Random raft. Tak ideme scavengeovať. Áno. Dobrá hudba. Klince. Trvám Petrov klincov. Kriste, pane. To nepotrebujem. Kuchárske náčinie. Oh, logs. Little fun quest. Rozumieš, že takýto questový tam mal byť proste 3 prdala. Normálnej videohra, bežnej, štandardnej. Nie indie. Open Sesame. Ja len dúfam, že tých equipmentov je viac, jak to, čo potrebujem, lebo tak bol ten kľúč v Outlaste. Každý guard mal kľúč. Prší. Chodíva nepotrebujem. Aha, tu je čestka. Príbehová. Binna's bed. Binal followed the crimson trail, watching with worried eyes as it became deeper and deeper until the river flowed red. Every scenario she imagined in her head was worse than the other, and she prayed all of them were wrong, that Farah was safe. She saw his legs first. His body was hidden by a rock, and she prayed desperately that he was just sleeping as she rushed towards him, but part of her knew it was too late. Falling to the ground beside him, she screamed his name and shook him. As she grabbed her head with her both hands, trying not to lose her sanity, the clouds parted, and it just began to rain. Lightning streaked across the land, but not even the sound of the thunder could silence her desperate screams. Binna laid on the ground with her father's body, rocking him and crying, until the rain stopped. The sun was creeping towards the horizon when she finally got to her feet. Her eyes fell on the blood-stained necklace in the dirt, and she picked it up. Grabbing her father, Binal hoisted him across the back and carried him towards the village. She did not stop until she got to the garden. At the back of the house, she buried her father in the same garden he had planted in honor of her mother. Binal returned to the house, grief making her feel hollow. As she sat down at the table, she found the necklace inside her pocket and pulled it out. She rubbed it until she could read the name scribbled on it. She knew it belonged to her father's murderer. As she started at the necklace, Binal suddenly wanted one thing more than anything in the world: to kill the person responsible for murdering her father. Getting to her feet, she grabbed the sword and a cloak. First, she stopped at father's grave. "Your death shall not go unavenged," Binal said, as she bowed before the grave. "This I swear to you." Then she set off for the village. Hell yeah. To my final boss fight. And boy, was Binal. Druhé lano, výborně. Lana máme už len kladivo, klínce a lugy. Aha, smradí. Crows of wind. Look. Ještě 5 logů. 3 klince, 1 kladivo. To ještě nebude. No, myslím si, že jsem byl skoro všetký doma. Ještě 3 logy, 2 klince. 3 logy, 2 klince. No, tam je hore, ten luk. Na střeše, vidíš to? Jak se tam dostaneme? Oh. Sa ešte už nedá ísť. Alright. Toto neviem, či som bol. Launcher. Toto tu som asi nebol. Aha. Kladivo. Klince mám všetky. Ešte 3 lugy. Cool. 1, 2. Chýba mi 1 luk, kámo. Yes. Got it. Máme šícko. Stračatelový jogurty všetko vyriešia. Kámo, stračatelový jogurt som nemal 100 rokov. Brž hovoríš. Ale mám už umyté zuby, takže... Příště. Kde mám postaviť ten raft? Dobre. Sú tu supplies navyše. To ma teší. Na tom mole. Jasne. Tak, build it. Ani pádlo nepotrebujem. Prosím, ich tam už není kombat. Kde ty kupuješ? Careful. Super hudba. Poďka je naozaj postavená z 10. Ež tak ma napadá, že či to náhodou týpek neupgradeol, čo sa týka dĺžky. Ten dal nejaké proste nové levely, len tak. A nikto to vtedy nehral. Let's see. Uvidím, keď sa dostanem na 4 hodiny a nedokončím to, tak budem pokračovať ďalej. Trebám teba, kamoško. Razer zajac. sa aj sem dole. Aha, som radi. Redress of Mira. Že by sme sa dostali nakoniec. To znie celkom finálne. Ma zaujímal, koľko som ich skipol. Andiel. Čo je? To sú... Mám zelenú. Bakulu. Asi to netlačím dobre, ale nevadí. Nič. Dobre. Teraz sa pozrieme naozaj, kam to mám dať. Sem. Vypadá to kruto prísne. To je troška dlhé, no, na indie hru. Ale vieš, keď je indie hra krátka, tak sa ľudia sťažujú. Keď je dlhá, tak sa sťažujú. V podstate sa sťažujú furt. Dúfam, že zajtra mi pošlú pomaličky tie hry, čo som objednal na PS-ko. Query a Man of Medan. Ništa. Páka chýba.
There must be a handle somewhere around here.
Takéto hry ideš na mňa hrať? V poslednom chapteri. Zasekol som sa. Don't do this to me. What? To mám jumpnúť? Nie. Áno. Ništa. Dobre. Lebo Mauskému a nepošlo ti nič. Myslím, že sú to nejaké overené české obchody, takže problém by to... Thank you. Strašne ma to priťahuje, jak to svieti. Nie tak. Rozumiem. Hop. Netrafil som to. Fail. To je červená, žltá, červená. Alebo je to oranžová. No, vypadá, že to bude Big Brain Time. Tak. Červená. Tak nie, musím sa pozrieť, čo bolo na testenie a zreplikovať to. Zatiaľ to tam nevidím, že? Takže pamätaj si. Oranžová, červená, tyrkizová. Oranžová, červená, tyrkizová. Oranžová, bordová, tyrkizová. Tada! First try. To budú veľké big brain time za chvíľku. Oh my god, aby som mal pridávať nejaké emoty. Ja viem. A tak minulo som si aspoň updateol tie panely dole s novým kompom. Novými komponentami, keď už nič iné. Come on. Čo, nepôjde to? Divný jump. Vidíš, že som nedostal timeout za odkaz. Nice. No. Si za to, že máš suba, nie? Jaký devil. Domček. Nedostupný. Nedostupný. Tak, lorová krabica. Henrik sat in the great room staring at the family altar. On his way back, vidíš to? To bol zamykam. On his way back from his revenge mission the day before, he had met Mira, going to look for him, and together, both of them had returned home. As soon as he got back, Henrik had made his way to the great room, and that was where he had been since. He knew his people were waiting for him to figure out the next step, but he couldn't muster the strength to face them. Part of it was because he still could not bring himself to accept his failure at protecting the sacred tree. Another reason was that Henrik couldn't help but feel that he had made a great mistake killing the mercenary. The man had just been following orders. Samara. Henrik felt no respite. After killing mercenary, he rubbed the staff, hoping to find some relief, but none was forthcoming. All he felt was more guilt. The door to the great room swung open, and he raised his head, thinking of it was Mira. He was surprised when a strange girl stopped into the room. "Who are you?" Henrik asked. Binel raised the necklace in her hand so Henrik could see it. "The daughter of the man you killed," she replied to him. "I have come to avenge my father's death." Henrik sighed and turned back to the fire on the altar. So much blood has been spilled already. All to satisfy the tyranny of one man, he turned back to the girl. "If you're looking for someone to blame for your father's death, blame the Baron." Binel shook her head. "It was not the Baron who delivered the blow to kill my father. Your father forfeited his life when he took something away from my people that we will never get back." "My father would never kill someone undeserving," Binel argued. That was a line he never crossed, not even for the Baron. Henrik shook his head. "If life were what your father wanted, I would gladly have laid mine down. He destroyed our sacred tree, and now it's gone forever. For that he had to die. And now you shall die too." Binel replied as she raised her sword and attacked. Henrik rose to defend himself, but she was too fast, and the sword was sliding through him before he could move. Maybe it was still guilt from the life he took that slowed him down, or shame from letting the clan down. Binel was surprised to see him go down so easily, and she stood in shock as he fell to the ground. For a few moments, she watched him gasp for breath, and his blood covered the ground. Then she turned around and raced out of the hut. Binel did not stop running even when she heard the noise behind her. Glancing behind her, she saw a girl running after her. Binel knew if she stopped, she would be dead. So she ran faster. Príbeh nekončí. Počkať. Toto je začiatok. Náš videoklip. To mám rád, keď sa to takto retrospektívne vráti. Či nie? Asi nie. Pripomína mi to začiatok. Čo je? Neovládam to. Spider-Man move nevyšiel. Druhýkrát to nevyšlo. What the hell? Come on, lady. You can do this. Not enough mana. Crows of Victory. To znie dobré. Tak, tu mám poslednú čestku. Možno. Maybe. B. Mira had seen the girl come out of the great room with a bloody sword and immediately gave her chase. When she realized she could not catch up with her, she turned back and raced back home. She rushed into the great room and found her mother waiting beside her father. Mira quickly dropped beside her father. Father, can you hear me? Mira, hold on. Mira pleaded. I'll go and get help. Don't bother, father said, grabbing her hand before she could leave. It's too late for me. No. Mira wailed, with tears falling down her eyes. She made a promise. I'll find her and avenge your death. No. Henrik said feebly. Enough that. She's not to blame for this, the Baroness, but... Promise me, Mira. Henrik squeezed her hand. Promise me. You leave her alone. You'll stay here and take care of the clan. Mira shook her head stubbornly. Then she felt her father squeeze her hand one last time. Promise me, he whispered with his last breath. Henrik's head fell back, and he was dead. Mira choked back and a cry as the tears fell down her face. Beside her, her mother also cried. Outside the hut she could hear the clan gathering around. It was not long before the sound of wails began to rend the air. The next morning Mira got to her feet. She had stayed the whole night beside her father. She took one last look at him and then headed for the door, just before she pushed it open. Her mother stirred. Where are you going? Colin asked her daughter. Father's death will not go unavenged, Mira replied obstinately. This I swear on my life. She had a fierce look on her face, and Mira's mother knew there was no stopping her. Then take the staff, Palin said. Perhaps it would guide you in your journey. Mira nodded. She took the staff that belonged to her father and his father before him. Then she stopped to kiss her mother on the cheek. After taking one last look at her father, she set out to avenge his death. Zamotano. Are we ready? vypadá, že je koniec. Uvidíme. Let's see. Až má nabitú stavku. Yep. Prásk. Je to začiatok. Let's go.
You won't get me!
Be now.
You won't get far!
Stoj.
Don't come any closer or you'll meet your father! You'll be sorry very soon, you sneaky little demon! That I swear!
Go, 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 go. Aha. Vezme
I
to.
will see you to a sad ending.
This is for Skya!
Oh my god. Dva endingy. Ačko alebo Dčko. Martin, žiješ? Pomstíme sa alebo odpustíme? Desať, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Čo sa stalo? Pustíme jej. Enough blood had been spilled. After offering Binal some healing herbs for her wounds, Mara took her way back to her village. She planted a tree before she jumped into her bed. What happened to the Baron and his wife? That was a tale for another day.
Unexhausted upon this path, Myra was swarming with forgiveness.
Happy ending achievement unlocked.
For she dreamed.
Dá sa preskočiť titulky? Samozrejme, že nie. Are you kidding me? Italian. Dávate titulkami 1 minútu, keď neskončia. Jako nechápam, čo sú všetci posadnutí tými titulkami. Nerozumiem. Rozumiem, že chcú nejaké uznanie, ale ideálne tam dať PayPal a hotovo, nie? Thanks to Michael Bowser. No, trvalo to 3,3 hodiny. To je na indie hru veľmi veľa, podľa mňa. Proti tomu prvému, čo som hral. Thank you for playing. Ale presne jak písali v tých Steam reviews, že tie scény s tými monstrami, to tam naozaj nemalo
You
byť.
sang me to a sad ending.
I'll be kind to the creator and write something positive about it.
Toto, môžem si lognúť ešte predposledný save. Continue. Chcem si pozrieť ten sad ending, nie? Ideme si odhlodne, a? To dáme, poď. Ideme ten druhý ending. Mám achievement.
You won't get far.
Pozrieme si druhýkrát nepreskrčiteľné titulky.
Don't come any closer or you'll meet your father. You'll be sorry very soon, you sneaky little demon. That I swear.
Jump. Tak, poďme na to.
I will see you to a sad ending.
This is for Skya.
To je extrém. Tri, dva, jedna. Drawing Binal's body down into the ocean was worth every single bottle of mud she had stepped on. After a couple of days, she returned to her village. Having traveled all across the land, she felt tired, so she jumped into her bed. What happened to the Baron and his wife?
Unexhausted upon this path, Mira was swarming with unforgiveness. For she dreamed.
Unhappy ending. Si taký úsmev má na tvári. Dobre, ale 4. Už by som nezvládol druhýkrát tie titulky. Zostalo mi Shoo away the 21st pack of crows. 20th. You have unlocked all achievements. To je len prvá hra v živote. Ti mám všetky achievementy. Neskutočné. No, 4 hoďky. Dobre. Ideme, majte sa a vidíme sa. Zajtra budem pokračovať s nejakou ďalšou gameskou. Dneska som už dead. Takže dobrú noc, dobrú chuť a dobrý život.